فرعت يعني كده فاكلة مثل انت خلاص بس ما بتصير يا ترى هتزبدان كده الدنيا وتشمال تشمال بدين زي الدنيا أصلا من ملاك الزبدة وأنا تستنى أنا شغالة ده جالي كده ما كان بكرة عندنا ناس يجي
stand against the issue of women having equal right with men in the home. And women must be submissive. It never used to happen like that. The only reason why we have a feminist, we have a woman activists, is because they have acquired education.
So would you rather they just stayed at home, weren't educated? Like
That's the role of the woman. They have to be home. They have to take care of the house, the home, the house activities. That's it. That's tradition. That's our culture. Why is that you should adapt the other culture?
Okay, so quick question. I'm a woman here who's doing this job of asking questions and moderating. I would say I'm independent. Does that bother you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Can you name a country where young boys are legally forced to marry women? Can you name a country where 1 in 3 men are sexually assaulted by a woman? Where the majority of men are unalived not by other men, but instead by women? Where men cannot wear what they like, where men cannot leave your homes without a female chaperone, where women dictate what jobs men can and cannot do. No, you can't name a single country where men go through things like that. Well, that's what men are currently putting millions of women and girls through in Iran, Afghanistan, Yemen, and several other Middle Eastern countries. In Yemen, there is no lower age limit for which a girl can consent to sex. In Saudi Arabia, women weren't allowed to drive for decades until 2018. In Egypt and Syria, if a husband catches his wife cheating and unalives her, he faces lesser punishment than any other instance of murder. There are 46 countries across the world where there are no laws against domestic violence if the husband supposedly did it to quote-unquote correct his wife. In 18 countries, a husband can stop his wife from having a job. Men all over the world have proven that this is how they want women to be treated, yet we have privileged women in the West acting like feminism is about choosing to do dumb things like proposing to a man. Feminism is about the advocacy for women's rights and freedom from male oppression. Imagine being a young girl in these types of countries, forced to marry a man you don't even know. Imagine being a lesbian in these types of countries. This is just modern-day slavery, and majority of the world is just calm about it. Men have oppressed women and girls for so long that it's become normalized, and so many people are desensitized to it. Imagine if a woman was married to a little boy and she tears up his exam sheets because she didn't want him to study. There would be an uproar all over the world, and millions of people wouldn't rest until that boy was free.
मटिया गांव का है, पिछोर में निवास करता है। कौन से मोहल्ले है पिछोर में? संकट मोचन। ठीक है, ये शासकीय छात्रावास महाविद्यालय पिछोर में BA थर्ड ईयर की कॉपी फाड़ के गया है। एक साथ आया और अचानक से इस कॉपी को उसने पकड़ा।
But it's girls that it's happening to, so people just watch the videos of it, maybe comment with a frowny emoji, scroll away, and forget all about it. The Islamic State sold Yazidi women and young girls in the streets of Syria and Iraq. 7,000 women and girls were kidnapped, raped, and sold as sex slaves, yet not a single protest. The UN ignored them. Muslims were completely silent, and many were supporting it because it's written in their books.
من خودم در یکی از مکاتب متعلم هستم. وقتی دیروز خبر شنیدم خیلی خوشایند بود برام، با خدا اشک ریختم. اما امروز خیلی جگر خودم. چی بود؟ چیزی گفتن نمیتونم. چی کنیم که پس
This is how not just the men, but also the boys in these countries treat women and girls.
Everything you'll see in this video is now illegal in Afghanistan. This music is illegal because all music is illegal. This music is illegal too. So how are we listening to it? We'd have to turn it off before we got to any checkpoints. This is also illegal. I was not allowed to go out without wearing hijab outside the privacy of my own home or hotel room. I only took my hijab off because I was on a mountain in the middle of nowhere and no one could see me. This is also illegal for me because women are no longer allowed in parks. For a while they were able to go on certain days of the week, but now they are completely banned. I was in Afghanistan in October of 2022. So much has changed even since then. This is also illegal. You cannot take photos of the Taliban or anything to do with government structures. But do you know what's not illegal? Forcing thousands of people to move out to these barren lands in displaced homes. Legally mandating hijab but saying that it's greatly recommended. And banning women and girls from most school. This is your reminder that although I haven't been in Afghanistan for a few months, the people of Afghanistan are still suffering. Rules continue to get stricter and come down on women, barring them from mosques, parks, and most public places.
Women in Afghanistan also aren't allowed to train to become a doctor and cannot be treated by a male doctor. Therefore, they have no access to healthcare. If they're pregnant or sick or injured, they have no way of getting help. And they can't even meet female doctors secretly because they can't leave the house without a man. And they're also banned from hearing other women's voices. The Taliban is trying to erase Afghan women completely, and this is what men from other countries would do if given the chance.
وقت ما تفكري مكتب كده ما صناعي نه سرک ما دست ترتوی لیشا چیز تاب مکتب که شامل و محمدی شامل و مکتب تفکت باید نران لورشی ورکی لورشی تاسو باید یکی مکتب تلار نشی
مکتب خود نران ده پارم نویدین جب چون ده پاروی نران بکا جنگ وکرن داور وکا
کم زبان کڑای ترو سپوری
خطار سکندار تقابل پر سکندار لورشا سمجھونا من کری سارا کملان کڑای سورین کری
تلار نشته خواهد شما تلار چه باکی
زباید دکتر شم انجینر شم آقا شما تون میگی معلم شما
استکه تاسو بیخی مکتب که نخکاری بکت با دور کی لورشی که نه مزیا بکت با تا لورشی مزیا بکت لورشی تا خنجر کی
باید وطن آباد کن
اوه تو وطن آباد اوی ممکن آری نه آباد او خوا
تاسو پکر که نه وطن آباد او.
Education is so important because women and girls who are educated would be more aware of and less accepting of the harm these men are causing to them. They would know that they deserve to be treated better and would know how to fight back. It would also give them better opportunities in life. But due to their right to education and exposure being taken away, many women and girls are brainwashed into having beliefs like this.
I believe covering your face is part of dressing modestly to avoid attraction when you go out.
So the danger is I might be attracted to you.
Absolutely. The reason I wear, there are so many scholars who do feel that the hands and the face do not need to be covered, but there are also scholars who say yes, that it should be covered, and I feel it should be covered because the most attractive part of anybody is the face.
So is there a danger that males in the audience are attracted to every female in this studio's face who's here? Are they putting themselves in some kind of...
Not necessarily every female face, but yeah, it could stir some sort of...
Passions?
Yes. Absolutely.
Why would it not stir passions in a woman to see a man's face?
Well, it's about the burqa, isn't it, and about the woman. wearing a veil.
Yeah.
And it's about why women are wearing a veil.
Yes, but I'm interested, if it's about equality, and you feel a sense of liberation, don't you? Why should not men not be required to cover their faces too?
It's a good point, but I wouldn't question that. If this is how I understand what the scholars have said, then I would do it.
And it's God's will?
It's God's will. And if you out of your free will choose to be a Muslim, then that's part and parcel of it.
And you're closer to the Prophet?
130 million girls do not have access to schools. This is a loss, not just to those girls, but to their communities and to our world economy. And every girl has the right to have access to safe, quality and free education. And we have to make that happen for them. That's why I'm here to raise my voice for that. I hope that leaders take education seriously. If they want to have a safe and sustainable future for the children, then they need to be bold in their action. How long do girls have to wait? As the UN Messenger of Peace, I have taken this pledge that I will advocate for the quality, safe and free education of all children, especially girls around the world. As long as that last girl is out of school, I will keep on fighting for her right to education.
In Iran, across the country, multiple K-12 schools have been poisoned with gas. As of right now, one girl has been recorded to be unalived from the gas poisoning, and over 400 are very, very, very sick. Let's talk about it. In Iran, from K-12, the girls and the boys go to separate schools. The Women Life Freedom movement was propelled by young women across the country, and in retaliation, the government has released poisonous gas, which has caused severe health issues and even paralysis in many students across the country, but this was only released in girls' schools, not boys. First, when it started a couple months ago, the government was saying it was stress-induced, but now they're basically saying that they have no idea how this happened. Yeah, okay. It's fair to say that the IRGC is waging chemical warfare on young girls who just try to stand up against the regime that is a dictatorship and forcing them to wear a headscarf.
So every time I ask a South Asian immigrant man, like if he likes that he moved overseas or if he misses home terribly, the general consensus is always that he misses home so much because back home there's always people to take care of things if things go wrong, that there's always people to do things for you, and that life is generally much simpler and easier. Then they act terribly surprised that you don't feel the same way about the place that you came from. Of course I don't miss home. I am a woman. You know how many times when I was back home I could walk the streets safely, wearing whatever I want and have no man bother me or leer at me? You know how many times? 0. That's how many times. And I grew up in a big city. And they say with their big chest, like there's always people taking care of things back home. There's always someone to do things for you. More often than not, it's your mothers or some woman in your life. If you're from an upper middle class family, it's going to be the maid. Things are not magically getting taken care of. Somebody is doing them for you. So of course you miss your culture that is so deeply rooted in misogyny and patriarchy, and that you happen to be the biggest beneficiary of it. But don't even, especially around me, for 2 seconds toot your own horn, especially around white people, going around saying that my culture is the best, you always have the people to do things for you, things are so much easier. You like it because it benefits you. You don't miss the culture, you miss the privilege that it grants you. So
I'm tired of people blaming all this on religion, or culture, or Islam, or socialization of boys and what they're taught. People blame everything except the ones who are always at the scene of the crime. The ones who are always behind the violence and oppression women and girls face. Men. The truth of the matter is that men use any and every opportunity to harm women and girls. Islam and war are just some of those opportunities. The thing is, so many people want feminists to quote-unquote respect other cultures and religions. The respect they're asking for from us is really just wanting us to silence when women and girls are being oppressed. But those cultures and religions were created by men and woven with misogyny, thus only benefiting men. They use it to control their women with fear by punishing the women who question them, hit their kids, perform female genital mutilation on little girls, and the list goes on. Some of the things I've seen men doing to these women in Middle Eastern countries, I can't even show you because they're too graphic. The least you could do to help these women and girls is to share this video for more people to be aware of what's going on.